Two men, two legends, two completely different energies. Yet somehow, whenever something shifts in the K-pop universe, it's always both of them at the center of it. Jin, the steady flame that never flickers. V, the spark that ignites everything around him. Their paths don't mirror each other, but their impact often lands at the exact same time, and that's when the world feels a sudden, unexplainable tremor. It all began with a moment so small most people ignored it. A strange pause. A tiny vibration in someone's pocket, a breath that felt heavier than usual. Nothing dramatic, but the kind of moment you look back on later and say, ah, that's when everything changed. Because not long after, the truth appeared, and it was bigger than anyone imagined. Jin had done it again. 91 consecutive weeks at #1 on my one pick. A streak that began in February last year, and instead of weakening with time, it only grew stronger. In November week 3 alone, fans poured 9,118,671 hearts into his ranking, as if the entire world agreed, we're still here, we're still voting, we're still choosing him. And the weekly victory was only part of the story. He held the monthly #1 spot for 22 straight months and ruled the solo category for 19 months, a consistency so rare that it almost feels like destiny. He didn't just win categories. He captured every side of the fandom's imagination: the soulful artist, the smart star, the past life prince, the perfect ad model, the encouraging exam day fairy. Every theme vote you could think of. Jin stood at the top. And just as fans were absorbing all that, another wave rose quietly, this time building towards someone whose milestones always arrive like a sudden storm. V. At first it was just whispers. Numbers moving too fast, graphs climbing too sharply, fans saying, no, that can't be right. But then the results dropped, and everything made sense. 3,079,637,425 votes, the highest birthday vote count ever recorded. A number so massive it didn't look real at first glance. 9 different global platforms crowned him #1, from Korea to Japan, to Indonesia, to global apps. It wasn't just a victory. It was a declaration, and the world responded in kind. His birthday rewards bloomed everywhere. Giant screens in Gangnam, media art in Hongdae, subway takeovers in Seoul, towering billboards in Shibuya, a massive display in Times Square, panels across Jakarta, even perfume inspired by him. The kind of celebration only someone with V's impact could trigger. After spending 2 birthdays in the military, fans had waited 3 years for this moment, and when it finally came, their love didn't just return, it exploded. What makes this moment extraordinary isn't just their individual achievements, it's that both happened at the same time. Jin holding a 91-week throne, V breaking all-time voting history. One steady as a heartbeat, one powerful as thunder, and together they created a global ripple that people felt before they even knew what was happening. And then came one last quiet twist. Jin's upcoming concert film, set to screen in 1,800 theaters across 70 countries. A global New Year's celebration built around him, closing the year with the same momentum he carried through all 91 weeks. 2 legends, moving in their own ways. 2 stories, unfolding in different rhythms. Yet somehow, their victories collided at the perfect moment, turning that small, invisible shift in the air into a wave felt everywhere.